Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another day on planet Earth. And today I come to you with an algorithm hack for social media. And right now, I reckon this can be a very, very important thing to do. And it came about because not long ago, I got caught in social media algorithm. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's interesting because the way an algorithm works is that it's going to send more of the things that you like into your feed. So more of the things you believe in, more of the things that you gravitate towards, more of the things that you like, more of your belief system, or that's aligned with your belief system, more of the things that you agree with, based on the fact that you're going to click on those things. And it's kind of interesting that when you do that, you just see more of those things. And from a coachy sort of point of view, there's often a thing that I talk about, that is that when you have a belief about something, that belief only becomes true and real when you can get at least one or more people to agree with you. So you can imagine if you're in a job, for example, or maybe with someone in your friend group, and you notice someone across the room that look like they're saying something to you, or you have an interaction in your office that is less than wonderful with another sort of staff member or fellow colleague. And you start thinking to yourself, wow, that colleague's not very nice, and they're a bit spiteful, and they really don't like me. And then to make that belief true, you've got to go to someone else, right? So I go to Kathy. Hey, Kathy, welcome. I go to Kathy. Hey, Kathy, that person there in our job, he is a bit mean and blah, blah, blah. And the minute Kathy says, yes, Marcus, you're right, I had the same experience, then that belief becomes true. Until that moment, that belief is just a thought in my head, and it's not necessarily true or real. The Facebook or any social media algorithm is not dissimilar to that. I believe in this thing, therefore I'm going to click on things that confirm that belief. Now, that's got some positives and some negatives, right? The positive is you get to see more of those things, you get to learn more. Maybe it helps you to expand your consciousness, and it helps you to anchor into those beliefs, and you get more knowledge and wisdom from that. But there's also a problem with that, in that you get basically one sort of view on the world, the view that you believe in, not necessarily a balanced view. And I think right now on the planet, we are seeing a whole lot more division than maybe we've seen in the past. Now, I think there's always been division, right? So I'm not under any illusion about that. But it would seem right now that we've got some extreme versions of that playing out around the planet. Not pointing any fingers or talking about anything in particular, but it might seem that way. And one of the things that happened for me a little while back was that I had this realization, because what came across my social media was someone who was connected to me had a totally opposite view or opinion than I did. And by accident, maybe, the algorithm sent me one of their posts. And I first looked at it and I went, oh my God. Firstly, that person that I know has that totally opposite view of the world than I do. So my first thing, which is kind of funny now, I almost got a little offended, and I almost got a little angry and a little frustrated. How could they have that opinion when we know that this other side, this other thing is absolutely true and real? Then I stopped myself and I went, hang on a minute. What is going on here? Why did I have such a strong reaction to that person's post? And then I started to realize, well, hang on a minute, the algorithm's constantly sending me things that I believe in, not giving me a balanced view and not allowing me to consider the other side of the argument or the story or the thing. So I thought to myself, well, this is not healthy, right? Because this is destabilizing, and I'm only adding to the separation when I'm in that state. So I thought to myself, aha, I'm going to trick the algorithm. I'm going to start clicking on things and searching for things that are of the opposite view to me in this situation. And I'm going to start to try and help the algorithm feed me a little bit more of a balanced view on certain beliefs or situations or things. Armide, who obviously I channel, she gives us the example of flat earth, round earth. And her comment always is, you know, the best place to sit, the most stable place to sit, the place to sit to be able to hear all versions of a story or a thing, the most compassionate, loving, gentle place to sit is in the middle. To not necessarily sit on one side of an algorithm or one side of a viewpoint or another incredibly strongly, but to sit in the middle. Now, obviously, there are collective views we all agree with that we would never sit in the middle of because they're just so egregious and horrible and whatever, right? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that we could all agree on, that we could come to understanding. Not that we're trying to turn someone to our belief or anything, but that we can just have a bit more compassion and understanding. And again, she uses flat earth, round earth as an example, that when you're trying to sit in the middle, don't reject the opposite side straight away. Sit with the opposite side. She often says, you know, imagine if it was flat. Maybe it is flat. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is round. I don't know. Maybe it is. And we come to that beautiful center point of, okay, it could be either, and neither really matters. We just sit here in the middle and just breathe into it. And then we can have compassion for either side and for the passion that people have for either side without us getting caught in that. So the hack that I want to give you today is to maybe realign the algorithm a little bit by clicking on some things or searching for some things that are of the opposite view to you. Maybe if you're a round earther, maybe look at some flat earth. If you're a flat earther, maybe look at some round earth. And help yourself come back to a center point, a more stable, balanced, calm, compassionate space. Because compassion really lives in the center. It doesn't live on either side of whatever belief. It only lives in the center. So that's what I've been doing. I've been starting to play with the algorithm, which has been kind of interesting. And I have to admit, it has helped me to really soften towards certain viewpoints, right? I don't have to agree with them, and I can still hold my belief for something, but I have a more gentle, compassionate view and definitely feel more stable about things and about that sort of opposing belief. And I think right now that's a good thing. And I think it helped me to be more compassionate, you know, about the post that the person I know posted. Rather than being upset or angry or how could they type of thing, I actually allowed myself to stabilize and center and just bring a bit more compassion into it. So, algorithm hack, maybe. Do some searching for the opposite viewpoint. Just sit with it and see what happens, and allow yourself not necessarily to be drawn on one side or the other, but come back into that beautiful stable state, that beautiful center point of absolute compassion and love and stability. And it definitely helps to do that. And it's kind of funny, you know, I kind of laughed at myself after I had that realization. And maybe you've had the realization too. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts about that. Love to know your thoughts. Please type below and get involved. And again, if you're new here, welcome. Great to have you here. Please type below and let us know you're here by just sharing a comment. Do you think this might be helpful? Is there anything else that you do to help balance the algorithm maybe? So that you're seeing a beautiful view of, you know, all aspects of any particular topic or issue or problem or whatever it might be. You don't have to, of course. Totally up to you. It's all good either way. Just sending beautiful compassion and love to you and whatever anyone's belief is. And again, this is not about changing that. It's not about disrupting it. It's just about helping you to center a little bit, you know, and stabilize into that middle point that Ahmed always talks about. And, you know, all the wise beings that have been here on the planet have often spoken about, because I think that's where compassion and love and understanding really lives. So, let's shift the algorithm to help us to find that space. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please type below. Love to know your thoughts. And don't forget, you are absolutely lovable. You're absolutely worthy. And it is time. All right. See you soon. Ciao.